and welcome to the Vasa Museum in Vasa 1628. Today we're going to talk about how the salvaging of the ship worked. We are standing here in the exhibition about the salvaging, and we are two education officers here at the Vasa Museum. My name is Emilie.
My name is Lotta.
And normally we meet a lot of students every day in different school programs. And one of our programs is about technique. And in that program we explore the salvaging of the Vasa together. And this method that they used to salvage the ship was developed in the 15th century. And it was actually used in an attempt to salvage the Vasa in 1629. And the method was about 2 water pontoons, and they were connected to the ship at the bottom of the sea with ropes or wires. And when they pumped out the water, they raised up because they were lighter, and they took the ship with them. But in 1629, they used hemp ropes and anchors to attach the ship to these pontoons. But the ship was so heavy and the technique wasn't strong enough, so it didn't work at that time, as we know. But here we have a model that shows the salvaging in 1959. And we have 2 water pontoons, and we have the Vasa at the bottom, and divers have made 6 tunnels under the ship. Strong steel cables were drawn through these tunnels and connected to these 2 pontoons. And the pontoons was called Oden and Frigg, and that is actually names of 2 Vasa gods. And now Lotta will show you how this method works.
Yes, so now you have to come over here. Here we have a model of how this worked. So first you have to look down at the bottom. There you have a plastic, looks like a plastic plate, but it's actually a model of Vasa. Up at the surface we have 2 pontoons, Oden and Frigg, as Emilie just told you. These pontoons are filled with water, and between the pontoons you have the steel cables attached in the tunnels under Vasa. These pontoons are now full of water, and Emilie, now you have to help me to empty the water out of the pontoons. So we will now pump out the water from the pontoons. This was made with much bigger pumps which were driven by petrol and not hand like we are doing right now. So as the water comes out from the pontoons, I think we're done there, you see that Vasa has come up a bit.
But the salvaging wasn't really completed, was it?
Not really, no. So what they did was they took the pontoons and moved, Vasa is hanging like a swing between the pontoons. They moved the pontoons with Vasa hanging there to a bit shallower grounds, not as deep water. So this will illustrate the not as deep water. So Vasa is now at shallower water, and then they changed the direction of the pumps and there we go, and filled the pontoons with water. So we keep pumping here so that we can fill them like that. So now you can see that Vasa is down at the bottom of the sea, and the wires are now loose, not tightly attached to the pontoons. So what they then did was to tighten the wires to the pontoons and once again empty the pontoons of water, bring her up a little bit more. So they had to do this 18 times to be able to get the ship up to the surface. So we'll move and look in this display. In this display you can see when Vasa, the 4th of April 1961 came up to the surface. Then they put the pumps into the ship, into the hull of the ship, and pumped out the rest of the water so that Vasa could float by herself into the dry dock. Yes, and that is how Vasa was salvaged.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.